Rock.
Sean,
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to
yo,
another episode of Rican. I'm Meals on Wheels Lou.
and Mo. What's up, mi gente? Welcome back to another glorious adventure that lies before us. So, what's going on, Lou? How was your
I'm
weekend?
chilling. It was great. How was yours? It was nice and except
It
for
was nice and
yesterday's rain.
well. Yeah, it was rain, but Sunday I managed to get to the White Plains. The man was it the Civic Center? They had a con going on over there. Nice
Okay.
time. Got to see Yasu, who we will be seeing in August the 3rd for his event. But cosplayers, people, and just the overall turnout, because I was quite surprised on a Sunday. That place was pretty packed. And I
Really?
heard from the event goer that this year is double the amount in both days in comparison to last year, which I think is excellent because of the fact that as far as cons are concerned, especially these small ones here, to have that kind of turnaround, people actually going out there now. It's like the pandemic didn't really, I did say well, it take about 5 years, and now it is 5 years later, and you could see it's building again, gaining
Yeah.
more momentum than ever before. Which again, as far as people putting together shows, people who are selling at the shows, cosplayers who are, advertising themselves or whatever for whatever have you, that's a plus because it means that we're not afraid to commingle again and go out there and enjoy the things that we love as far as fandom is concerned, which is a great thing. I was surprised and I was very happy, which means at least this particular con will be back again for a third year, which again I'm like cool because we need local. We do need some
Yeah.
locals around here. Yasu's in the Bronx, this one here in Yonkers, Pacific Center. We need some more of that close by. I mean, yeah, you got your Big Apple, you got your Javits Center Comic Cons, and your New Jersey stuff, but some of them, one, some of them are a bit pricey. Two, some of them are a bit far. You really have to invest, and then you have to invest if you're not going for like the whole weekend. You have to invest in staying out there too. So
Yep.
that is a big investment. Good for commerce, but depending on the person, because sometimes when you see the prices, you go, no, I'll sleep in the car. I don't care. I'll change and sleep in the car and go to a gym and shower and change. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that these small venues are available and becoming more of a happening event that people are really going to, which is again a big ass plus. And I look forward to next year to see what comes up.
I can only imagine it'll only be bigger.
Oh my God, what? I mean,
Right.
it
No
was.
diddy.
I mean, he was the guy, the creator. I mean, the
Organizer.
person who put it together, the organizer, said he clocked in 2,000 more people than last year.
Nice.
Both days, both
Good,
days,
good. That's
and that's
good.
great. That is great because it's like okay, as I said, people are getting back into the swing of being out there, being sociable, not being terrified. Oh, COVID-19 or whatever. No, it's look. I'm not dead. I'm alive as well, and I'm going to start enjoying life and enjoying my fandom. Why not? Why not?
Yep.
I mean, I mean, while the pandemic, as bad as it was, it kind of reminded me of those what you call dystopian type films when it's like the end of the world and you hear the silence out there and you're looking at the streets and it's like saying we're waiting for a deadite to start walking around and shit.
Yeah.
But I know. I see that look in your eye.
Yeah. Walking Dead. Yeah. Well, I didn't walk. Remember, I rolled. Yeah.
Yeah, you roll. Yeah, you'll be the
Rolling
only one
around. Yeah.
with the motorized. I see.
Exactly.
You'll be
Yeah.
the fastest one. You're the fastest one out of everybody.
Can't get away. Can't get away.
Can't get away. Yeah, I know. Oh, that's hilarious. But yeah, it was great to see that. And some of my friends that were in the Star Trek group were there too. Because I don't know if you know, but Netflix is already starting to stream season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy. They've already set out the whole episode and everything. And as a matter of fact, I think on the 5th, me and my Star Trek group, we're going to be getting together at McHale's Bar to watch at
you
least
said
an
you
episode
said Netflix or Paramount.
of Netflix. Paramount did it, but sold it to Netflix to put it out there. Because for
Okay.
some, that's what we talked about before. The reason why, like Discovery, kind of ended because they talked about the cost of doing this show.
Right.
So so there's that crisis that Paramount is facing with being able to produce good content, but at an affordable cost. So this move with Prodigy, I mean, from what I already heard from some of my group members, they're all screaming like, "Why did you sell this to them?" Because for some reason it's great, and they're loving it, and they're not like they're not sitting there going, this just sucks. It's on Netflix, so what the hell? No, they're saying it's great. Paramount should have kept it, so at least they could reap the revenue of maybe new subscribers to watch. We'll
Now that
see.
you mentioned Netflix, I saw the not to make a quick left here, but I saw the trailer to the new Beverly Hills Cop. It's a
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was a Netflix thing. I had no idea. I thought it was going to the theater.
But that's the beautiful thing. I found, as far as original content is concerned, right? A lot of the streaming services are taking from Netflix Q, because Netflix was the first to come out with original content, meaning their
Hmm.
own movies. And and when they stream it, they're streaming it. They're not actually doing theater releases. It's being streamed and streamed only. That's why some Godzilla versus Kong had two releases. Had the theater release, and then they had the streaming release, one right after the other. So it kind of jumped in there, so that way the revenue. Actually, I think the revenue was bigger, slightly bigger in the streaming side than it was in the theater side, but overall, it still made a whole bunch of money, to the point where, of course, we had Godzilla X Kong to follow. So it did great by doing those two platforms. Like when everybody was taking what Netflix was doing and started doing it, you had your now you have what you have NBC Peacock, you have Hulu.
Paramount.
You have Paramount Plus. You have Max. Max is, especially with Max. Max was the one that flipped up the 30 million needed, so Zack Snyder can complete and do his
Yeah.
version of Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Hmm.
They popped out the 30 mil for it, because WB was like, oh, we don't want to do that. The fans were screaming about it, but and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was, what was the telephone service? I think it was AT&T that bought Max, but they're more of a customer oriented type of mentality. And they said, if everybody wants it, put it out there. And they threw 30 million at them. Can you complete with 30 million? Yeah, sure. And they did it.
Yeah.
But guess what? As far as sales between, Josh Whedon's and Zack Snyder's Justice League, the 4 hour epic, 4 hour epic is selling more, both on the
Oh yeah.
streaming as well as in the store. I mean,
Yeah.
if you
Yeah. Yeah.
have
No.
the Josh Whedon version, I just call it, I call it the fake Avengers movie. That's all it was, because it's fake
Yeah.
Avengers. Now,
And I'm
Avengers was
sorry.
great. Avengers was great. What you did with that was great. But this is Justice League, and trust me, you just can't pull the same crap with this group of people. It just doesn't work.
Uh,
It really
and you
doesn't.
know what? Pretty soon there will be no theaters. Everything will be streaming. I.
No, I believe that. I've always said that from the day they talked the word when the word broadband came to life, and then when I started watching like the first films online being filmed, shown online, I knew
Yeah,
that this eventually going to be that. I mean, what's it called? Blade Runner. That movie depicted that perfectly. That's the future. You come home, you turn on your view screen, everything from movies to news to stock reports or whatever it is, all now just streaming on that screen, and
yeah.
that's it. It's
I
just an
remember,
internet.
I remember, I remember seeing an early interview in the '80s of George Lucas, where he mentioned that soon he wants to see uh, movies beamed directly into the houses, and that's what's happening now. Yeah,
It's a natural order. I mean, that's why they're trying to push for to try and get funding that way, versus like getting investors involved or whatever, going in from the streaming platform because it makes sense that a moviegoer goes to the theater, pays one time to watch it, or if they bought the service, they can watch it as many times as they want, but that's a one-time event. Now
yep,
the streaming service, different, different because they're paying a monthly stipend, not just to see that movie, but now everything else that you're going to put on. The content has to be continuous, so
yeah,
that way the revenue would justify, let's say, for argument's sake, Discovery season 6. If that was the case, if they had that going on, but they don't. But then they did Prodigy, and they said, well, we can't put it on our platform, and we can't afford to. But people were screaming for it when they said they were going to cancel it. There was like a campaign and a half, and it was because of the fans that made season 2 possible. But they sold it to Netflix, so Netflix put it together. And people are telling me now from my group, outstanding. It is outstanding to watch. So I'm looking forward to seeing it probably tonight, later, or tomorrow, and catch some of it before I go to the our premiere event at our group gathering. But I'm looking forward to it.
yeah.
And with that,
Let's
with
let's
that,
jump into the subject.
for today's subject, favorite villains across the board. And I gotta tell
They don't
you,
even have to be. They don't even have to be favorites. They could just be villains you admire.
exactly. I mean, well, in some ways, there are favorite villains because you love to see them on the screen, and they have this what's the word I'm looking for? Je ne sais quoi about them, to the point where you're waiting for that villain to show up. Like, who doesn't cheer or get chills when Darth Vader walks into the room?
Yeah,
That's a perfect villain right there, bro. I mean, like we said on our last show, whether in person, whether somebody is playing him as a character, or as whatever show, or like Rogue One, that whole last scene with him, yo, that was like the. I mean, I've never. I mean, I've seen them use the Force, but not in that way. I mean, he cleared the room. I'm surprised most
yes,
of the others didn't just drop their guns and ran. Just like, give up, bro. After what? If you see your brother being lifted up in the air, spun like a top, thrown freaking around like a rag doll, and you still with your pistol in your hand, thinking, "Oh, I got a shot," smack you in the face, stupido.
yes.
Run,
Let's start with the comic book villains.
shoot,
Let's start with my favorite personal. I don't want to go. I like Magneto
Magneto.
because
Okay, he's
everybody
a
has
he.
iron. Everybody has iron. He could freeze you right there on the spot.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I mean, even in the animated version of X-Men '97, like that scene I told you where he takes the council and just rips them out of the from their table and takes them all the way to the stratosphere. They're already caca in their pants. They're looking down, but he's looking at them and he said, "Because I kept a promise to a friend that I am not acting on my better instincts." And I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, I
Yeah.
mean, he is that villain. He is. I don't want to say anti-hero because yes, he tried to do his best to follow Xavier's dream because, like it or not, even though they're frenemies and they were on opposite sides, that is still his best friend Charles. Deep down, he loved the guy. and will do
Well,
anything for him.
I believe if Magneto was introduced first and his little band, we would be rooting for Magneto and not Professor X. Professor X and the
True,
X Men would be considered
true.
bad guys.
But you had to have the yin and the yang, and then in between the
Yeah.
yin and the yang, they had that whole where you know they have that connection as two people as mutants, even though each one has a different ideology. I mean, yes, one believes that we should take over because they're going to hunt us down because his life was about being hunted down, being Jewish and being hunted down.
Yes.
So he felt that the world needs to be given that pause to understand you hunt us down, you're in trouble.
With both of
True.
them, who is really the
That
bad
is a
guy?
good,
Very
yeah, that is a good
okay.
point because Xavier, especially with Phoenix, it's like, okay, as I always say in life, there are good ideas, there are good intentions, excuse me, there are good intentions, but bad ideas. Your intention to shield Jean Grey from her power because you don't think she lacks the control. Again, good idea, but the execution was wrong.
Yes.
School her, train her like you did train her to handle her powers, but also that other side that could take over. Because when Phoenix came on board, first she was the light, but then because of Mastermind, that one that manipulated with her mind with illusions, the dark side came out. And she had no control over that. That dark side took over, Dark Phoenix took over. That's it.
Did you?
She's wielding a cosmic level power, like rivals Galactus, the world devourer.
I believe Professor X wowed everybody with the way he portrayed his school would be, not knowing that he would take these kids away from their family. Like, he's kind of like a Jedi.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like the Jedi Council. He finds force sensitive kids, and then he says, well, we'll take them, we'll train them in the ways of the force, so that way they can be a force for good in the galaxy. Same thing with
Yes.
the X-Men. We'll find them, but his purpose was to train them on how to use their abilities so that way they can be a positive force for good in the world, using their abilities. I mean, some of
Yeah.
them, their abilities were out of control, and some of them was so horrific on the outside that they needed that kind of guidance to understand how to deal with that. Perfect example, Kirk Wagner. Nightcrawler. He's blue. He looks like a blue devil. Got the tail of one. I mean, how many times
Yes.
that he said that he was chased and with pitchforks and torches because they thought he was a demon. No, he
Yep.
was just born a mutant. He had ability, but unfortunately, this is what he looks like. Doesn't mean he makes him a monster. It just means that he's different. That's why I say, like, I love the X-Men in that respect because it helped me to understand as a child growing up in Harlem because I never really, as a kid, you don't look at differences. You really don't. Color, sexuality, male, female. You don't see, you don't judge any of that when you're a kid. It's
No.
when you get older and then somehow, your ideologies get mixed up with either somebody who's harsh and fills your head with these stupid ideologies oh, that's she's black, that's bad, or she's gay, that's bad, that's this. No, they're just people. They just have different
Yep.
ways of expressing themselves, and that's it. And I learned that by reading X Men. I really learned that. I didn't get, when I actually then this when I first really went out and hung out at places where you see the differences in people, and you go, wow. I went, wow. I didn't go, ew. No, it just went, wow. Okay, that's different. No judgment, no judgment. And X Men did that. That really, that much I can say. Here's one. Here's one I'll throw you away. And this one has, I think, two parts to it when it comes to a villain. DC's Joker.
The
The clown
Joker. Now,
plus the
when you
clown
say
plus
the Joker, which like okay, the you have several incarnations in the animated version.
yes.
I
My
like
favorite
the
off the back in the animated, I'm gonna say it right now, Mark Hamill. Mark
yes.
Hamill as the Joker. I
The
mean,
Batman animated, the Batman animated series. Yes,
hands down. I've heard others. I think there was one from the movie Batman Under the Red Hood. There was a different guy playing him, and he didn't do too bad. I have to admit, he didn't do too bad. But I
they even
still
drew him
think
differently though.
it drew him different. But that scene that he's beating Jason Todd with the crowbar, backhand,
Yeah,
forehand, and it's like you know the voice actor that did that. I'll give him props. He was good. I don't remember his name. He did good, but I still love Mark Hamill with Batman the animated series, and then on. Oh my God, he's the Joker. There's really no
yes.
way of
And
saying it.
in the cinematic version, I would have to go with out of the three, Heath Ledger.
Yes,
He played him the darkest, and Jack Nicholson.
true.
He played the Cesar Romero type.
And Cesar Morel, or, Cesar Morel, because
Yes.
I'm not going to talk about that third one, and we both know who we're talking about.
Oh yes.
We both know the Suicide Squad one, and one I'm like, it's like if I had a tattoo with the laugh, I would do that. Yeah, because that's how
Yeah,
funny
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought it was. It was more funny. It wasn't,
yeah.
it didn't.
He sucked.
It was more comical and more of like, oh damn, but not like Heath Ledger when he comes up. But thing is, it's like that whole scene with him and Harvey Two Face when he actually, it's like I'm an agent of chaos, and
Yes.
he actually made him then do the thing with the coin. Say heads you live, tails you die, and he put the gun right there on his forehead and said,
Yep.
"Go for it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, it's like what, what? And it's true. I'm old school, so when I
Oh,
will have
Cobra
to
Commander.
say Cobra because they had all the cool items. This is true. Cobra,
Yeah,
GI
they had the
Joe,
best vehicles. They had their vehicles was
course,
awesome.
of course, of course. This is Joe, bro. The government spent no expense for that division. Yo, Joe, all the way, bro. Yes, Cobra.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely Cobra. But what about Deathstroke? Now, Deathstroke, as his right hand man, he's another,
Yeah. Tin Head.
uh, Tin Man with that metal head. And I'm like saying to myself, bro, I don't even remember if they ever put him in the live action, but if they did, I was like, dude, like, why would you want to fight and try to punch that face for? It's a tin head. It's like stupid when you do that, bro.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's that Yojo, and of course, if we're gonna go animated and go GI Joe, then yes. As far as Transformers, Megatron.
Mm, Uh. Yeah. Megatron would be doing.
Megatron.
Megatron.
You could
Megatron.
go. You could go Ultra. No, is it Ultra Magnus? Yes. Unicron. No, Unicron. But he's more of
Unicron.
like Unicron is more of an extinct level event villain because when he shows up, it's an extinction level. It's like
Yes.
even though
He's a
they
planet
survived
eater.
it and they managed to get rid of him, but
He's a robotic Galactus.
hell yeah, as soon as he shows
That's
up,
all.
both of them, they're perfect. Both of them, Galactus and him,
Yes.
they're extinction level baddies. When they show up, it's game over. You better have a plan and you better have a way to stop them because if you don't, you're done.
And
Done.
we're gonna go old school. Mumra. Mumra.
Hey, let me see if I remember this. Ancient spirits of evil, cast this decay form to form Mumra, the ever
Yeah,
living.
you
God, I
remember that?
remember that. God, yeah, yeah, yeah. Thundercat fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Thundercat fan,
Yeah,
bro.
no, no, you just
But
proved your
Mumra,
age. Yeah,
Mumra, just in that alone, that little opening, every time he transforms, that's it. You know?
yeah,
And even in the iterations that follow, even though they weren't so great, the original first one was always my favorite one because of that. I mean,
yeah,
even when Lionel finally grew up, you know, and became the Lionel after his trials with the other Thundercats to become Lionel, now leader of the Thundercats. Yeah, that was something else. That was something
Yeah,
else in that final battle with each other. I mean, it was epic to say the least. Epic.
and then there was what are the old school?
Well, if you're gonna go old school, then I'm gonna go television. I'm gonna say Star Trek, and I'm gonna say Khan Noonien Singh.
I'm gonna go with the Borg.
Ooh, the next generation is the Borg.
Yes,
Resistance is futile. When they came up with that, I gotta give it. I gotta really tip my hat off to the creators of that because they took was it the hive mentality of bees, the whole structure of everything as
and
far
and
as
and and
green drones.
yes, and put them in a Rubik's cube.
And yeah, put them in a Rubik's cube, but made them cybernetic, and then always with the one multiple voice is like, death is irrelevant. You will comply, and always
Yes,
that one opening from the episode. And I remember correctly, the best of both worlds. I remember it because in Picard, the captain was Shaw. He was remembering when telling his son about the first time. You remember the first time I met just your dad? Yeah. Hey, you remember the Battle of Wolf 359? 40 starships, 10,000 people dead, and he went on, and Picard is just sitting there taking it because, and at this point, he's not, he's no longer part of the collective. He's an admiral, but cannot erase Locutus. And remember,
there
he
was
was
a
sitting
couple
there
of
and he's like,
episodes.
he was the only one that was
Yeah,
given a name,
yes,
Locutus.
there was a
Oh,
couple of episodes. The best of both worlds. The two episodes were great. Also, the one after that where he goes back to Earth to reunite with his brother.
brother, yeah.
I thought that was awesome.
That was hard hitting because it takes from a standpoint psychologically of someone who was abducted, and
Yes,
then of course the abduction, and then the brainwashing, and then of course being freed, and then being deprogrammed, and then now you have to now reintegrate yourself into
yes,
society again. But at the same time, it's like you're scarred for life because of the fact and the knowledge that you possessed. Over 10,000 people died at your hands. That's, I mean, when I think about it, it's like, it's like, that's blood you carry in your hands, and even though you were not responsible for it, like he says, like it was like being a spectator looking but can't act. I
yeah,
couldn't do anything. It wasn't towards the end, like when they did capture him and they brought him to the ship and they were trying to go into programming, and then somewhere along the line they opened the door that he then was able to reach out and tell Data sleep. That was the one clue that he gave, and that was the one opportunity that he was himself to give Data the clue he needed to then shut down the Borg at that point.
yeah,
But again, we're talking a cybernetic organism that goes and they don't explore; they basically assimilate. That like the Federation or us somewhere in the near future, we're going out to learn about other people, which then helps us learn more about ourselves through different cultures. And we have rules and regulations. The Prime Directive not to interfere. If they're not space for faring worthy or whatever. Not them. They see technology, they see a different species. They see technology that they want. They go. They they pretty much decimate, stop, assimilate, make drones out of them, absorb everything they are, and then they know everything there is about them. Okay, now they've improved themselves. Boom. What is it? The search for perfection, and it's dangerous because when you hear that we are the Borg, resistance as you know it is futile. That's it. Game over.
yeah. That's almost like Vader's breathing when you hear the Borg. Resistance is futile.
Yes. Who is your weirdest cartoon bad guy? Mm, there you go. We there?
Who is your
Weirdest,
weirdest bad guy?
the weirdest bad guy in cartoons. That's a good one.
Weirdest
That's
bad guy
a
in
good
cartoon.
one. In
Who would it
cartoon,
be?
weirdest one. I wouldn't say he's a bad guy. No, no, I wouldn't think of.
And welcome back. We had some difficult technical difficulties, but we're back. Well, I'm back.
Yes, back from the vortex, from the phantom zone,
Yes.
into reality again from commercials. You never forget your first on that trip. Whew.
Yeah.
We were talking about our favorite, which was Inspector Gadget. And
Yes.
yeah, you gotta love that one. Claw. You're asking me who the villain was, and I remember Doctor Claw.
The
Um,
best bad guy because he was never seen.
no, you had never seen. And remember the acronym of the organization, MAD,
Yeah.
which I think it stood for Malevolent Agency of Destruction.
Yeah.
Equals MAD.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God! Sometimes, like I said, you gotta love the writers when they come up with these things, because it baffles you, but at the same time, it's just hilarious in the long run when they put it together.
One
Now,
of the
who
other
else?
ones. One of the other ones
Hmm.
is the Gotcha Men, the G Force.
Gotcha, man. Yes. Was it Volton? Yes, Volton.
Yes.
Volton. No matter how many times he tries, and I swore it's like the Phoenix was my favorite ship. I mean, every
Yes.
time they went into Phoenix mode, whatever they were up against, they were done. I only saw one time in the many years I was watching that show where the Phoenix was actually damaged, where it went down. And I was like, and I'm like, here going, oh
Yeah.
no, yeah, because it's like your heroes, they're invincible. It's like, dude, I'm like, oh, and then they rebuilt it better than what it was before. So that when they use the same tactic to take it down, they're the ones going, "Oh, it didn't work."
Oh, I would love to
And
see
there it
that
was.
series as a
Oh,
in live
who
action.
doesn't remember doing transmute?
Yes.
Boom. It was the animated version of the Power Rangers, because when they said it's morphin time, and then bang, you get that.
Yes.
It's like it was the same thing, and it's funny because when it comes to animation, Japanese animation, I take my hat off to you, because yes, they make their films the way we make our live action, just as serious, just as good. And when they create characters, you know, even if the formula looks similar, it's still great, because they know it's like when they do a rinse and repeat, but they rinse, but they put a little color here, put a little color there,
Yeah.
a dash of this and a dash
But
of that, and it's a whole new character.
they kind of for example, to me, G Force.
Yeah, there they go.
Yeah, man. G Force started the whole thing where after G Force, you had Voltron.
Yes, the five
Again,
lions.
yeah,
Yes,
same thing, same
even
theme.
though even though you had the other version with like about 12 or 13 different planes and trucks and cars to form that Voltron.
Yes.
Which, by the way, that's one of those very hard to find figures, because it is out there, all those pieces that you can create that version of Voltron.
You're talking about the
And there
car
was
ones,
only, yeah,
the
the
vehicle.
other one, which was the different Voltron Force.
Yes.
There was actually, and if memory serves, there was actually an episode where they featured both Voltron forces together.
I remember
You know,
that.
yep. I was like, what? And then they both at the same time say, "Let's form Voltron." I was like, oh shit!
And
I
then
was
they
like,
had,
what? The hair starts standing up. Oh, they came there forming alliance. Oh shit! Here comes the cards. And then
yeah,
they Voltron, both of them. And then when they call the sword, they have their fancy way of calling one, and then the other one, boom. And he always had that gong, and then boom, like he just created the blade right out of his hand. I'm like,
yeah.
what?
Another thing that came out of that was uh Power Rangers.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
hate
morphin time,
I
and there's
hate
so many. The thing is, that's a perfect example of rinse and repeat. You had Power Rangers, you had Power Rangers in space, and then you have the Dragon Force. Then you have Ninja. Was it Ninja Fire or Ninja Force? There were maybe 5 or 6 iterations of them, and maybe even one episode that I remember that all of them came together. That was massive. I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" And, oh, there's the original, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And God rest his soul, Jason Todd was there at the time when they had that massive event where all of them were together.
Yes.
I'm like, wow. Yeah, the movie was okay. I have to admit, it was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay. I really want to see. They are talking about a second one, but they haven't really put it out there yet. But the first one, not too bad. Not great.
No,
Not too bad.
I actually went to see the movie, the first
I
movie.
did too.
It
I
was
did
pretty
too. And
good.
I'm like I said, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't. Yeah, there it is. The whole kit and caboodle, bro. What? And I'm just sitting there going, and they're all saying, "Hey, moving time." Like, what? It's like the Japanese has a way when it comes to action to really get your juices flowing. They get that adrenaline pumping all of a sudden. I have to admit that because it's like there's not an anime or a live action that I can honestly say that I sit there and when it comes to an action scene, I'm just like, okay, that's not. No, you get pumped. You're like, yeah, come on, bring
Yeah.
it on, let's go. And then that's I guess again another hat take off to them and the writers because they have that I don't know that I would like to say that childlike quality that they know how to hit it. Boom, they hit that button, and then that little inner child gets all excited, gets all yeah. Even if I don't care, I'm 56, I'm going yeah. Let's do this because they know how to create the stories in the way and hit that button and bang, there it is. You're getting all excited for it. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the other one? There was so. I mean, other than Power Rangers, after that, what else? I mean, in the MonsterVerse, let's see, villain number one, Megalon, but he got. I'll never forget that with Jet Jaguar and him giving the. He's all set up, and then he does that slide. Tailing him. I was like, this was their way of making a child-friendly version of Godzilla because since they saw how Gamera, the kids, so they wanted to do the same thing with Godzilla. They turned him from a force of nature, change his suit and his look, and then him and Jet Jaguar kicking Megalon's butt with that slide with the feet in
Yeah.
the air. Oh, to this day, I watch it, I crack up. There's actually on YouTube, anybody who's Godzilla fans out there, YouTube has a 24/7 Godzilla channel that plays all their movies. So it's like I usually catch upon it when they're doing Megalon, and I'm like, oh, it just shakes my head. I laugh hard because like, damn, this is child friendly, and I was like, no, come on, give me back Force of Nature Godzilla. Give me where they try to find a way to stop him and they fail every time. Just leave him alone. Do right, and he won't come after your ass. That's why I love how they do it in the MonsterVerse. That he's more of a force of nature, trying to create, regulate, and balance nature. He's like Serizawa, let them fight. Godzilla is balanced. He's seeking to balance nature. Okay, he is. That means you do something stupid with nature. Guess who's coming and knocking? Burn your house down.
Another great bad guy for. I would have to go to my man Superman.
Oh, but the list is
Superman,
long on that, brother, bro.
but the top three actually, because you did mention one during the break. You mentioned Zod.
Zod is one of them. Yes.
You mentioned Doomsday.
Doomsday is another one.
I'm gonna go with the ones that challenge him the most is what's his name? Lex Luthor and or
I agree.
Brainiac. Brainiac
Brainiac.
who destroyed his planet to begin with.
Well, Brainiac became a collector. He's kind of like the Borg, but he doesn't assimilate. He collects, miniaturizes. I mean, there's a city. I forgot what city it was. That was Supergirl City.
Kandar.
Gandar, exactly. And he shrunk it down to size and collects all these planets and people and studies them that way, and then collects the knowledge from his studying. But again, he's like the Borg in some ways, and some others he's not. He has a definitely a high genius intellect level, but when it comes down to it, it's usually the brute force that he can't. I mean, he can come up with it, but he really can't handle it when it comes to Cal. Comes to Kal-El or Superman. He pretty much defeats him. And with Lex Luthor, another genius intellect, but again, very dangerous
And we
because
gotta give credit where credit is due. Our producer Charles mentioned humans.
oh yes, just recently in the comics, Amanda Waller. There's an episode, and I'm actually going to collect it myself now that I saw it, where Amanda Waller has found a way to steal all the powers of the Justice League, and then she then recreates her own Suicide Squad with the powers of the Justice League. Because there
Hmm.
was a scene where it opens up a scene where Superman is stopping a robbery in progress. So he's floating up in the air, and boom, he heat visions one of the robbers' guns, and then all of a sudden, without knowing it, one of their weapons or bullets, because again, they always assume, why are you going to shoot at him? He's bulletproof, but you're going to shoot at him anyway. But this time, one went right through his chest, and he's like, "What?" And then he just lost his powers instantly and started falling to the earth. And that's the storyline so far. It just happened just like that. Him, Green Lantern, Batman. You can't take away his powers because Batman doesn't have any powers. He's a genius intellect, a brilliant tactician, but his toys and his suit, it's like you can't take that away from him because that's something that he doesn't possess as something that's grown in him.
You
So,
said you can't take away his power. He has no power that you can't take it away.
mhm. The
And
only
if
thing you can take away is his money. That's about it because
his
he's
money,
rich. His money is the only thing.
and if you give him maybe a brain disease that will,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. But again, as far as power is concerned, like flight, invulnerability, I mean, with the exception of the fact that the man is skilled in over 120 different forms of fighting combat, that's a power
yeah,
because to retain that knowledge and be that living weapon against villains. That I would say is his power. The intellect to combat and be 10 steps away ahead of your opponent, and as far as combats are concerned, that's his power. That's
yeah.
definitely. But I'm waiting to pull that one out.
So then wipe his mind. Someone said, yeah, that's what I'm talking
True.
about.
If you took someone like Xavier, was taking him on, yeah, there's no way. Once this happens, done. Unless he finds out how to put something metal to do like Magneto does in his cowl to prevent him from breaking into his mind. Other than that, I would say Jean Grey because then there are two opportunities for him to lose. Because one, if she can't get in his head, she can't take over. She can rip his body apart with her telekinesis alone.
I think
Alone.
I think Magneto could stop him too.
Long as he has metal. But
Yeah,
so if he's possessing of metal, but again, his suit is was it a carbon fiber body armor mix, so it doesn't really have any particular metal to
no,
say the
but your
least.
body, every
The
human
iron
body
in
is
your body,
different. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, the iron in your body could be used against you in that respect. Yes, I believe that. I will just wait for Batman to get old with Alzheimer's.
Wow.
Be careful with that because you already know where Ra's al Ghul hides the Lazarus pit. So you can
Well,
just take a nice little dip in the pool and be back to 20 again.
he did that recently. That's gonna be last
Yes, he
season alone.
did.
That's gonna
He
be last
did.
season to Batman Beyond.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, It's not a secret. It's just when Ra's al Ghul exposed that, all he has to do is find it, take a dip, boom, done. There you go. I'm 20 again,
Yeah.
at his prime, at his peak, to say the least. So yeah, nah, yeah, I'll wait for Alzheimer's, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that. I would not hold my breath with him. But with his villains, I mean, as we said, we already mentioned the Joker, but then you have this laundry list of others like Clayface. There's it, but that one, it's like, I mean, Batman has had his share of villains where they're on the kooky side, and but I think like for instance, the Penguin, for instance, the crime boss Penguin, not the wah 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 that Penguin. I'm talking the crime boss version, and that one, that one was also a villain that he had to be careful with because then he was like Falcone.
Mhm.
He was organized crime in itself. He took over for Falcone. He kind of moved him out. Period. So you have that one. And some of the others, and I'm rolling down and trying to eliminate the ones that from the '60s show because, quite frankly, I'm like some of these from the '60s show villains. I'm like, what?
Yeah, like
But
in touch.
as though, oh my God, you read my mind. That was the first one I was
Yes.
thinking of. King Tut, Mad Hatter. Oh my God, Riddler. Okay, Riddler was a good one because
Yes.
that one, you got a riddle and you got to figure it out. But the thing is, you got to figure out that riddle connects to another clue, which leads to another clue, and you really you don't want him getting in here. That
Mm-mm.
was the one thing about was it Edward Enigma. Enigma could do. He could get in here and message you when the movie of the Batman came on. The fact that he then figured it out by just ripping out the carpet and then seeing that the whole plot was right. I mean, it's like they say, it was right underneath your nose. The whole thing was right there at the bottom of your feet, literally.
Yeah.
And then bang, it unfolds. But wow, wow, that was really done well, really, because I didn't see that coming with the whole thing with his dad and his mom. I was like, what? Seriously? I was like, okay. And then bang, it comes out, and I'm like, wow, okay, that's something different. Again, hats off to the writers for putting together a good plot, something that it's not like on the surface, oh, I already figured it out. No, it's something that made you think, made you figure it out, and then all of a sudden, the big surprise, like, what? Oh, okay, cool. Didn't see that one coming.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of being, didn't see that one coming, the Rogue of the Flashes.
The Flash
His,
Road.
his number one nemesis, the Reverse Flash,
Yes.
Earball Tongue. That one, that villain, that now that it's like he idolizes him, he wanted to be him, and then somewhere along the line, he lost it after he became, the Flash of the future, or he wanted to be the Flash of the future. But then all of a sudden, he got corrupted, and he needed to eliminate the Flash, go back in time to kill his mother, so that way you erase him from time. But things don't work out the way they did. But now he has a nemesis, and a genius level nemesis, no less. So
And
that's that one. Hmm.
not to make a complete left again, I gotta give it to my man uh Negan.
Oh my God,
Yeah, come
dude!
out, little pig.
What? Now there's a brother that, my God, yo, there's times that you don't know whether he's actually going wide left or wide right. You,
Yes.
but when he starts talking like he did in The Walking Dead when they were going to New York, and then he was trying to, lead a civil way, but then all of a sudden, old Negan came back, bro, and he
Yes.
gutted that kid in half. Oh, I was like, oh, Negan. I was like, oh, Negan. I was like, yo, Negan's back. And I gotta say, I was like, yes. But that's the time that in that situation you needed that. But when they first encountered him, I was like,
Oh my
dude,
God.
what's wrong with you? But he was like a villain in the most strictest of sense. But he did have a moral core.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, there are certain things that is like, no, that's crossing the line. I don't do that.
Yeah,
It's like,
the thing that I liked about The Walking Dead was that if you took the governor, which is another great bad guy, and you saw it from his point of view first, you would root for the governor and not
mhm.
and not Rick Grimes group.
Again, back to good storytelling.
Yes.
End of the world level virus event, turning people into flesh eating zombies. That the only way you can kill them is shoot them in the head. But they're multiplying at such a rapid rate that survival is all that matters at this point.
But
Trying to stay
Negan,
alive. I mean, when those times, like the time they had the jail, it's like you think, oh, they're good. They're good. It's a jail. Who breaks into a freaking jail? How do the zombies do it? It happens.
eh,
Because someone's gonna wind up betraying you. Someone's gonna wind up, right
when
up the old kazoo.
when
And
Negan killed those two guys with a baseball bat,
oh, that was
my God,
brutal, brutal, bro.
he killed the Chinese dude, and all the Chinese dude could do was
Yeah, but dude, when he came down the way he did, and bang, I was like, oh, he went down. I was like,
and the way
yo,
he
your heart
broke
just fell.
and the way he broke Rick Grimes. I mean, he broke him down.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
he broke
scary.
him.
But remember his origin story when they were doing it in the Manhattan one, when you talked about his origins?
Yes.
Yo, I mean, I like the character. I really do. And then I became not much, I won't say a fan, but I began to relate and understand even more.
Yes.
He was normal like anyone else,
And they picked a
had a
good
love.
guy.
The outbreak happened, and then he had to kill the one he truly freaking loved. And that can
He named the
change.
he named the badass
Oh,
though, Lucille.
Lucille.
And
I mean,
I didn't
that
know.
whole scene. I was like, "What? Oh, that. Oh, I, I can understand you completely
Yes.
now. I understand you completely.
I
There he is, right there at the bottom. Million,
I followed the actor
bro.
in previous shows, but when he did this, I was in shock.
Mm-hmm.
I was
Mm-hmm.
in total shock.
Mm-hmm.
Negan was the man.
Negan was. It's still the man. What I'm talking about? He's
Yeah.
still the man. I'm
Yeah,
waiting
yeah.
for season 2 in New York to come on, bro,
I
because
like when he
it ended
knocked on
with
that
him
kid.
that proposal about taking over. Like, is he gonna take over New York? I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, this is spoiler alert. Too bad. You should have watched it in the first place.
yeah. But when he took over, when he knocked on that door, come out, little pigs.
Oh yeah,
He
he
is
is the
quite
joke of
Joker.
the zombies. Joker. He's the Joker of the zombies. This is true.
Yeah,
True. So true. It's like you can almost see him do. Want to see a magic trick? And boom! Just, I'm gonna make this head disappear. Pa!
he
And now
admired
it's gone. Huh?
he admired Junior though. He admired Rick Junior. He admired him a lot.
Yeah, you have to hand it to him because he gives respect, but at the same time, that's it. You're gonna get respect and maybe a quarter, maybe a break, but not that's it.
Throughout
You
the
got that.
show,
You
throughout
you blow that quarter away, you're done.
throughout
You're
the
done.
whole Negan thing, the two people he gave the most respect was the kid, Rick Grimes Jr. and Sonequa, the
Yep.
Discovery chick. He gave them two the
Hmm.
most respect.
Yeah, yeah, because they had what it took. They knew what had to be done, and that was something he respected. But they also, there was also a line that they didn't bother crossing,
Yeah.
and that was the thing that stood out for him. Because when he came to one of his lieutenants, I remember that one where he found out that they were messing around with a little girl. I'm like, when he looked at him, I was like, oh, he done. I knew it. He was like, you're done, bro. You're
Yeah.
done. You're done. Yep. There's Lucille.
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, Jeffrey Dean. I mean, the brother can play a character. I have to admit, especially now that I see him on The Boys, which that's another villain right there, Homelander.
You know who he could play, honestly, and based on his character that he did with the whole Negan, he
Hmm.
could play an older version of Iron Man, Tony Stark.
Oh, you mean like what do you call it?
Tony
Uh,
Stark.
Superior Iron Man.
Yeah, he could. I think he could pull it off
Oh, I'm pretty sure he could pull that off.
because
Oh yeah,
he's got that style that
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. He could be. He could. I mean, hero one thing, but villain and a villain that you can look at and you can admire, respect, maybe even understand. You may not be crazy about his methods, and you may not like them, but you understand and respect the man for what he's
Yes,
doing.
and
Whether you hate it, like it, love it, or hate it, Negan definitely somebody you just no, don't
I
cross that
I
line.
I love the actor who played him. I think he's a wonderful actor,
Oh,
Jeffrey
Jeffrey
Dean.
Dean,
Yeah,
Jeffrey Dean, hell yeah,
beautiful actor,
hell yeah. Mm-hmm.
beautiful actor.
Oh my God, remember the movie The Losers?
Yes, vaguely, yes.
That was great with him in it. Him, Zoe Saldana, that was so good,
Yeah,
so good. But again, yeah, he's one of those. He's one of those actors that can really bring out the villain, but in a way that you don't hate his guts because like after watching even his origin story, I was like, wow, I had even more respect. But I had not more respect, more a respect and understanding of the character and the way he is. It's like, yeah, in this new iteration, he's trying to seek redemption, but like in The Godfather, no matter how many times I try to leave, they pull me back in.
yes,
And that's it. That's kind of like that whole season of that, especially when they found out Negan is there. And he was after that scientist that got away, the
well,
one he shot his ear off. I forgot his name now, but
you know, a little
I was like, yeah.
side note here, and you might think this is
Mhm.
weird, but I can't watch Godfather and not want spaghetti the next day for dinner. I don't know. I don't know why. It just
Yeah, the two don't correlate. It's like, every time you see spaghetti, someone dies.
yeah,
That's it.
yeah. That and
Yeah, yeah, you don't
orange.
want that being your last meal. No.
That and orange
Chicken
juice,
Parm
man.
Hero? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. The Losers right there, bro.
Yeah,
Love that movie, bro. Love
yeah,
that movie. That was a badass film to watch. Badass. But yeah, it's like when you watch those movies, it's like, somebody's getting it. It's just, you just know it's happening.
yeah,
The characters, they don't telegraph it, but you hear it in the conversation and you're sitting there going, okay, should I not look, not? And then when you're about to cover your eyes, it's already too late. They
yeah,
got whacked right then, and then brutally whacked. It ain't like they just knocked him out and they had something to no. They ended him right where he stood, right
yes.
where he stood. What was it? The movie The Bronx Tale with Chaz Palminteri. That scene in the bar when the Hell's Angels bikers, came in, and at first they were rowdy, and then he said, "Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa," and he said, and the bikers fooled him into thinking that we just came here to have a couple of drinks, nothing more, and I'm sorry, and whatever. Okay, okay, you came respectful. Then next thing you know it, they went ape shit crazy. They poured beer on the bartender. And
Mm,
then he was telling me, yo, 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 what's going on? And he says, we're going to do whatever the hell we want. And then he did the one thing that put a shock in their face is when he walked over and locked the door. And then it's like that kid, the kids at that very moment, you could almost see they were white, they were whiter. Whiter. I was like, they became almost translucent at
yeah,
that point because it's like, he locked the door and he told him, said, now you're not leaving. I'm like, and the boys came out the back room, bats and everything. They all got their ass handed to them. Handed to them. It's like, like we say in Español, ¿quién te mandó? Ah, bueno que te coge.
yeah,
Sigue con los manganzón. Sigue. You gotta love that scene.
yeah, man. All right, we got one more.
Oh, and with that, I gotta say, if you have any more ideas or villains or things that you want to talk about, please go to our Facebook page, Ricans, and put it out there. And if you have a show idea, like I said, if we use it, we'll give you credit on it. So until next time, I'm Mo.
I'm Lou.
Meals on Wheels, Lou.
Yeah.
Throw it on third gear. See you next time. Have a
Really?
great
Third
night.
gear?
Be
Really?
safe, bro.
Third
Hmm?
gear? Third gear? Really? Third gear?
Third gear, yeah. Well,
Okay.
what
Okay.
you have? What you have? Four on the floor. You got a full house
No, I
blower.
got.
What?
That's the funny thing.
Nitrous.
I got third gear on my wheelchair. That's the fastest. You funny? It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
when you have nitrous, then we'll talk.
Ah, then you're gonna call me Fast and the Furious.
Okay.